Welcome everybody to Two's Company, Three's a podcast, Newcastle's #1 film, TV and gaming podcast. If you're making a burger, just put the lettuce on the bottom. It's much better for everybody. My name is Dylan, and as always with my co-host
Mitchell, and you better get your Laurentium ready and pick up those phones if you're in Russia, because it's time for 2C3 Pod, the 27th Prime. So good.
Tasty.
Prepare to be fucked by the long dick of the law.
Wait, I know this one.
You should.
Prepare by the long dick of the... Oh, fuck. Yeah. Hold on. All of a sudden, all the cop movies have just flooded my brain.
It's like a 20 to 80 ratio of cop movie to something else.
That's why I keep thinking it's like Superbad or something.
Bingo, bango,
I was going to say,
man.
it's definitely like a Seth Rogen or like a Bill Hader quote.
Yeah. Well done, yes. The long dick of the law. But anyway, speaking of big dicks.
Wow, we're taking it back to episode 3.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lovely callback for all of you regular listeners. But hey, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wednesday. I'm going
to turn it that way a little bit.
No, that's fine. No worries. Anyway, Wednesday, this is our news and review episode where we're going to hit you with the freshest news going around the film, TV. Around the film, TV, and gaming worlds at the moment, and then we're going to hit you with what we've watched at home.
That's
and
right.
Review some of that stuff for you, but a little bit do our chores first, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to find us over on social media, just Google at 2C3pod, or just better yet, 2C3pod will show up, of course. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, but most importantly, Facebook and Instagram. Hit us up.
Absolutely. And not only that, if you're new to the show, thank you very much for your listening and support, I guess we could say. Make sure it's on your preferred platform, wherever that may be. We are available, of course, on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube. Big Summer Blowout.
Now, you mentioned last week that you're going to change that up a little bit.
I know, and I completely forgot just then. That's
excellent.
right. Yeah. But
so, I know we know that you are listening.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
hopefully...
No, that's right, exactly.
What is your actual saying now? I can't think of it now.
Well, more or less it was just basically saying, we know you're listening wherever it is, but of course, I mean...
we are available.
Yeah,
also.
We are available on these, because we've been saying that for so many episodes now. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course YouTube.
I was about to say the beginning of most episodes is muscle memory, except for the little nuggets here and there where we change things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every time when we change like your little like quote or my little quote, or whether we throw something else in like, all right, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, but I'm gonna change how we say it. It's like, oh shit.
No, exactly.
Because muscle memory is not going to be on our side this time.
Before last week when I said, and by the way, I'm going to do this instead of this, you're like, thank God you told me, because otherwise I would have freaked out and been like a deer in the headlights, you know? Like, everything is just such muscle memory now. But if you wanted to support the show, of course, we do have merch across available. Yes, we are both rocking. Yours finally showed up. Yes.
Yeah. I bought mine before yours, and mine turned up 6 months later, it feels like.
No, absolutely. But we do have some merch, of course. Redbubble and TeePublic. Just search Two's Company, Three's a Podcast, or 2C3 Pod.
That's right.
And of course, we do have Patreon, and we have wonderful patrons that we do shout out at the end of every episode. So if you would like to be shouted out, or you would like to support us, or there is bonus content coming every goddamn week now.
That's right. If you're looking for additional content from Two's Company, Three's a Podcast, head over to Patreon. All links are down below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or like linked on your Podbean app or Spotify or Stitcher, whatever it may be. All the links are there.
Absolutely. But not only that, you did just mention YouTube, and YouTube is where you will now find 2C3 Pod DTC.
That's right, because we would normally include them in Wednesday's episodes, but now we're changing the format a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. So if you do want to see our full-length reviews of the latest films that we've been able to witness at the cinema, whether they're old films like the one this week, or they're the latest and freshest things to hit the cinema, head over to YouTube, because that's where they're all going now. For now, we're going to stick with the podcast about our opinions on what's happening currently around the world in film and cinema, but most importantly as well, we're also going to be reviewing what we've witnessed.
That's right, exactly. We did before lockdown, we did start a new series on YouTube called At Home with 2C3 Pod, and I guess that is now...
We did that first. Everyone else was like, At Home with such and such.
I know,
we did that first.
Before lockdown, and we did about 2 or 3 episodes, and then all of a sudden lockdown happened. All of a sudden there's 80 more podcasts, and they're like, hey, At Home with us. Go fuck yourself. We were doing it first. Now that is going to become a feature on Wednesday's episode, so you'll get your news and basically At Home with, and we'll just talk about a few things we've watched. And then on Fridays, of course, if you wanted to hear about the latest and greatest trailers that have hit the interwebs. And then, of course, we will be previewing the films coming to theaters that week.
That's right.
Now, it is a bit strange for it was a little bit strange last week with what was coming to theaters, because every fucking thing was coming to theaters because we hadn't had theaters. And for the next few weeks, it will be a little bit weird as well, because there's some old classics coming to theaters. There's a few odd newies here and there, but there isn't any big blockbusters perceivably for the next week or two until I assume Tenet is still on schedule for later in July.
That's right. But speaking of old school and ripping it back into the back in the 90s and such, looking into...
Segue.
That's right. Look, I was trying to make it really clean and it did not work.
No, that's fine.
So diving into our first topic of the week is one that you've put on the list about the old classic kids cartoon Ren and Stimpy. Now, I am not overly familiar. I have watched handfuls.
Yeah.
Pockets of it here and there, but I know people who have adored it for a long time and who have watched a hell of a lot more than I have. All I really know about Ren and Stimpy is that how fucking bananas
exactly
it is. But what's happening right now?
Okay, so Ren and Stimpy, it's been announced this week that there was a funding page on Indigo. It was a campaign, Indiegogo, my apologies, a crowdfunding page to get the funds for an actual full-length, proper, in-depth feature film-length documentary about the history of the show. And I had to chuck it in there because I do have a fondness for it because of how bizarre and left field it was and how it really should never have been on a kids channel, but it did, and it was for so long. And so it really did appeal to me, this idea that there's going to be a documentary, because I love a good documentary if it's done right. And especially if it's about if it's about something that I actually care about or want to hear more about. So the fact that there's going to be a full-length documentary coming on August 14th, so not that far, only a month or so away.
Oh, so it's on its way.
Okay. No, it's not like it's just been greenlit. It's been in the works, and they've been working on it for the last year or so. And it's going to delve into all of its history and all of its battles with the networks and all of the controversies that are surrounded. And I'm sure
there's plenty.
I'm sure there's been quite a few parents groups and all of that kind of thing that have tried to take the show down over the years, but somehow it fought through, and it made itself a nice little home on Nickelodeon, and it's still there today.
Yeah.
Getting played late at night.
The crazy thing about, the 80s and 90s is that fair enough, there may have been TV shows and movies strictly aimed for kids, but they were fucking batshit crazy. But then you had adult things, and I'm going to bring up something that I find familiar with this particular topic, but things that are directly marketed to adults, which then have Happy Meals made it into, and then toys that are marketed to kids and cartoon shows. This reminds me of RoboCop. I talk about that a lot.
That's right.
But that was something of the 80s and 90s which was directly perceived as like overly violent and political themes, and definitely not for kids. But then they made toys and they marketed it to children, and kids loved the adult things. And it's just like Ren and Stimpy. It's
that's right.
Primarily hard to watch.
No, that's exactly
kids
right.
Loved it.
And I feel like Ren and Stimpy were the pioneers of the genre that everybody now loves, of these adult type cartoons.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Somehow the only way to get it made back in the day was to be on a children's network.
Well, that may be the case.
They figured out a way to do it, and then essentially kept pushing the boundaries and somehow stayed alive for as long as it is. But I feel like they were definitely the pioneers to now be like, okay, there's a market for adults to love cartoons.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we've got so friggin' many, and I definitely think The Simpsons and Futurama and those types of things, and Family Guy as well, definitely pioneered it being more mainstream.
That's
but I think Ren and Stimpy definitely tread the water and dipped its toes in the water.
I think they definitely treaded the water a hell of a lot more too, because something like The Simpsons, fair enough, it is considered an adult cartoon. It is family friendly across the board.
No, that's right.
You can definitely watch it at all ages.
My parents wouldn't let me watch it until I was
you were
like
12.
One
of those kids.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Jen, what were you doing?
Exactly. For shame. For shame. But no,
I was raised on The Simpsons, man. I loved that
exactly.
as a kid.
But no, I just I just love this idea. I love a good in-depth of something that I do care about, and the fact that I can still watch Ren and Stimpy nightly on Nickelodeon at home, it's still something that's close to my attention. Oh my god, I just scrolled down and got this GIF.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Exactly. It's
That's
terrifying.
The thing. Ren and Stimpy reminds me of SpongeBob. Is that SpongeBob is fair enough. It is very much catered to kids, but there are moments in the show where you're like, holy shit, that's purely for the adults. There's that particular scene. I think it's where either SpongeBob, I think it's Squidward.
I gotta get off that.
You know which one? There's a scene in a SpongeBob episode, and it's very famous.
Yes.
Where I think it's Squidward. He stubs his toe.
No. We've had this exact
I know we've talked
conversation
about it, but you're the SpongeBob fan.
You even phrased it exactly how you did. But no, it was SpongeBob tripping over, and his thumb goes into a splinter, and then that whole episode he's got this splinter that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the pus builds up and it's oozing and
But it's not just that; it's the moment when the splinter goes into the thumb.
And it's slow mo when you see it, and it's
thumbnail. That'd be excruciating, but those cartoons made it watchable.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, you're right. Ren and Stimpy being one of the first ones to push those boundaries allowed for something like that, where I'm sure SpongeBob, like those guys, they've been doing it for years, so they just got away with it. But they may have been like, oh, I don't know if we can do that. And they were like, look at what you're still rerunning.
Well, that's right. Ren and Stimpy, Nickelodeon. It's like, it must be a Nickelodeon thing where they just, you know what?
Yeah, no, 100%.
They understand their audience.
So I'm definitely keen for that. So look out for Happy Happy Joy Joy, the Ren and Stimpy story, coming August 14th. I believe digitally, so check that out.
Not all crowdfunded documentaries make it, unfortunately. No, there's one that I've been looking at for years, which unfortunately I didn't get the chance to support when it was open. I think it was on Kickstarter, not Indiegogo, but it was called RoboDoc. Basically, same sort of thing, feature-length, in-depth documentary on the making of RoboCop. Fair enough, we've had the interviews and things, but this was completely fresh and new. At the moment, as of 2020, all you can really see is snippets of that what was meant to be on YouTube. It seems like the full-length thing didn't really get there. But it's cool to see, obviously, this has got a wider audience, obviously, and a wider backing. So it's cool to see that this is coming out, and I'll be interested to check it out if it does come onto a platform where I can watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's and from the bio as well, just so everyone's clear, it's not produced by Nickelodeon. It is crowdfunded.
Yeah.
And apparently everybody who was close to the show is on board, and it does have the blessing of creator John, I'm going to screw up his last name, Chris Falusi. But he doesn't appear on camera, but he's okay with it and has given permission for the other people who were closest to the project.
That's cool.
To be on camera. So I think it will be pretty informative, and I think it's going to tell a crazy ass story, that's for sure.
Because of all of these adults, they make all these like adult kind of cartoons. Like they're all kind of fucked up in one or another, but that's what makes things so good. You know,
do you know who Mike Judge is?
I know the name.
Beavis and Butthead, and also Daria as well. Like
those very blatantly adult cartoons.
Oh, no, 100%, But, they were on MTV, so they were never even geared toward children. But
you'd watched Daria as a kid, didn't you?
It was on ABC, dude, after school.
That's right. Beavis and Butthead was one that I did miss. Apparently that's getting a comeback. I saw something the other day. I probably should have.
Because they've done a movie, and Bruce Willis was the main antagonist in the vocal role. But
I read somewhere recently that Beavis and Butthead is making a comeback in some form. I think it's coming back on Netflix or something like that.
But I was going to say, I've seen a few interviews with Mike Judge, and while he does seem like a normal dude, at the same time, you're like, man, you've done some drugs. Like, he just has that vibe about him. But no, if you're into
it's so weird.
She said, but exactly. No, TP before my bunghole. I am not cardio.
It's like they just wrote down anything and said, you know what, let's just put it in. Who fucking cares? Yeah, and it just worked. It's not like they went, does this joke land? I'm not sure. They just went, I don't care. Just put it in.
I guarantee there was only one draft per script. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, but either way, if you're interested in documentaries or a fondness for those adult type cartoons, this one definitely seems like it's probably one of the most controversial series in the fact of the network. It was almost for children.
Yeah, that's right.
There's going to be a lot of interesting battles that they went through. So I'm definitely keen to check that one out.
Yeah, sweet. In the current climate of cinema and the fact that now we're in a time where old things can be rejuvenated or re-edited and recut and be re-released 100 times over, whether it's Blade Runner or fucking Aliens or whatever it may be, and even current films like we've talked about Justice League, which we've got a little bit more news of that in the moment.
Yes.
The first one, which was interesting that I want to talk about right now, it came out on Sylvester Stallone's Instagram page. Rocky 4, apparently he's working on his own supercut of that film.
Of Rocky 4.
Rocky 4.
Okay. And as you put in the notes, why?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like, those movies are fine as they are. I don't quite understand why. I'm guessing
he has... Was Rocky 4 Balboa?
Well, hold on 1 second. Robert, I'm just going to read into the article.
I know there was Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and then Rocky IV, but was that Rocky Balboa?
Rocky Balboa, I believe, was...
That was like
the self-titled... Yeah, I think that was number 5.
That came out when I worked at the video store. Did you know that I worked at the video store?
Oh, tell me more.
I won't. But okay, so there was 4 Rockies and then Balboa. So,
and then there was Creed and Creed 2, which I yet to check out.
Yeah, so why... Okay. Why is there going to be a supercut of the 4th film?
Because as much as you might...
Is that one that he directed? Did he direct that?
I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, look up the specifics about it. All I know is that, like, you know, Sylvester Stallone is the kind of guy who makes the films himself. Like, for example, with the latest Rambo, like, he shot it direct. I'm not sure if he directed it, but I remember seeing...
He wrote it. He wrote Rocky.
I remember seeing, you know, Instagram snips of stuff of him in the editing room. So he's directly... He's not just an actor. He's directly involved. He's an artist.
Definitely a high-level producer of those, I'm sure.
That's right, yeah. So, like, Rocky, the first one, was him against Apollo Creed. And then number 2 was him against Apollo Creed again. Or actually, no. Yeah, is that right?
I
believe it was. And then Rocky 3 was him against Mr. T.
Oh,
but he was called something else in the movie. I just can't quite remember. It's been a little while since I've watched those movies.
He does face Apollo Creed in number 2 as well.
That's what I said. Yeah.
No, just to confirm.
Yeah, and then number 4, he's up against Ivan Drago.
Yes, of course.
Dolph Lundgren. Yes. And that film, I think, is probably the most popular film, the most well-known in the Rocky franchise.
Yep.
For whatever reason, as we said just a moment ago, that all of these films are getting re-releases, re-edits, reproduces, whatever it may be. I don't know why this is getting it, but this is getting the same treatment. I'm guessing that there's things on the cutting room floor that Sylvester Stallone thinks would make for a better film, and he's just putting it together and he's going to release it. I don't know why.
Yeah, see,
it doesn't. I don't think it really needs to exist. I don't think this is a film that everybody was clamoring. Hey, there's an alternative cut of this which may be better? It's not Superman.
I feel like this is definitely him trying to just grab the last possible dollar he can out of this franchise, because I just went through it and he wrote number 1 but didn't direct. 2, 3, 4 Balboa. He wrote and directed all of them. So he was in charge of behind the camera for 2, 3, and 4. But apparently 4 needs a supercut. Well, I know it's probably one of the most popular due to Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean,
the crazy thing about Rocky 1 is that, yes, he definitely wrote it, but like when he tried to sell the script, essentially, like people wanted to buy it off him, but they didn't want him to star in it.
Yeah, no,
he said, I'm starring in this.
This was for me.
This is my film, and this is going to be my thing. So he eventually got picked up. They let him to star in it, and then it just blew up. And then people were like, okay, this dude's got some serious talent.
No, exactly, that's right. And I assume that's why he got penciled in then as director. But I completely forgot there is actually a 5 before Balboa as well.
Is there?
Yeah, 1990. Rocky 5, Rocky V, you know? He wasn't directing that one, but he still wrote it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you
I completely blanked at that.
I forgot about that one, yeah.
Brief synopsis. Reluctantly retired from fighting, Rocky takes charge of Mickey's gym and agrees to train a young protege who's hungry for success. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
I don't remember that one either. No. Yeah. Wait, hold on a minute. I think it's vague. I remember a meme where he's talking about, it's not about how hard you can get hit. No, it's not about how hard. I'm trying to think of the saying. There's a famous saying in it. That's in all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, before I fuck that up any further, so for whatever reason, we're getting another supercut of Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Directly from Sylvester Stallone himself. I don't know why, but it's coming. So Rocky fans, look out for that. But personally, I don't think it's necessary, and I probably won't worry about it.
I don't think it's necessary, but it's been that long since I've seen the one with Ivan Drago, you know, that I might actually watch it when it gets re-released, because I did enjoy that film.
Yeah, for sure.
And I haven't seen it in that long that if I have a spare minute, I might jump on it, you know? But I'm not sure why he didn't direct Rocky 5, but he definitely directed Rocky Balboa when it came back in 2006.
Yeah, for
sure. So he directed 4 out of the first 6 of them. So
I love Sylvester Stallone. I pretty much enjoy almost everything he's been in that I've seen.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that he has the freedom and the range to be able to take an existing movie and have the freedom to actually chop it and cut it and piece it together the way he wants. It's just, I don't think it's going to get a cinematic release, but you know what? He may make a few extra bucks on the Blu-ray.
No, exactly. I'm sure he will, or the digital rental or whatever it is. But either way, it's just so impressive to me that somebody like Sylvester Stallone, who gets mocked a la what I just did with and he just seems a bit dopey in that, but dude knows how to make a film.
Dude's crushing it.
Yeah, and not only that, he knows how to write a screenplay. Yeah. I mean, he wrote fucking 6 of them before Creed ended up coming out, which he didn't write, but based off his characters. But so full credit to him, and if he can make a few extra bucks, I mean, that's more than we can do.
That's right,
exactly.
For sure.
So, yeah.
But cool. As I mentioned earlier about, supercuts and things existing and things being reworked and re-edited and re-released, moving on to a little bit of political correctness news, essentially, and cancel culture. Now, we don't like to get too political on this podcast, of course, so this is still most definitely relevant to pop culture and movie news. We're looking back at the Justice League Snyder Cut version, essentially, but we're looking at one actor in particular, the guy Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg.
Okay.
I know you haven't watched Justice League. That definitely came through.
I know.
I know you haven't watched Justice League, but long story short, Zack Snyder left. Joss Whedon came in to finish off the film, changed a lot. However,
Did Zack Snyder still get directing credits?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so he had completed enough of the film that he still got credits.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I believe Bohemian Rhapsody had the same issue where the director got the sack, but he was still credited as director because he completed X
Wasn't
amount.
that? Wait, I'm thinking of Rocket Man, aren't I? That's got
no.
Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah,
okay.
No,
Rocket,
it was definitely Bohemian Rhapsody where they had that.
I haven't seen it. Not sure. Anyway, but yeah. So like, Ray Fisher, the guy who played Cyborg, I looked him up very quickly after I saw his tweet that he posted, and it turns out he's only got one acting credit to his name.
Oh,
so I'm kind of like, why is he in a position to say anything?
What,
for starters?
Really? But he got cast as Cyborg.
Yeah, well, that was his first breakout role. I wanted someone relatively unknown.
And that was Ray Fisher, was it?
Ray Fisher, yeah. Yep. Anyway, he's come out with a pretty controversial tweet, basically accusing Joss Whedon of being a total fucking asshole to everybody on set, and also being pretty misogynist as well towards women. And
all right, there's a different.
There was a scene. There was a funny ha-ha gag scene in Justice League, which I don't think was really necessary, and it was quite awkward where they're in a big battle. I'm not spoiling anything. Anyway, there was a moment where the Flash trips over.
Okay.
And he's all of a sudden lands like on top of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And there's a split moment where he's on top of Wonder Woman on the ground, and then bing, he's up, and he's like awkward, like, oh shit, I fell on top of Wonder Woman. I need to get off.
My bad.
Yeah. Apparently Gal Gadot didn't want that in there. She didn't feel comfortable with it, and apparently Joss Whedon was like, "You're fucking doing this, yada yada yada."
Right.
Being a real hard ass. But anyway, I'll see if I can find the tweet that he put out. Anyway, so after the tweet came out, he said, "I'd like to take a moment to forcefully retract every bit of this statement," but too fucking late, dude.
What?
Absolutely too late. But he basically accused Joss Whedon, producer behind Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and also the creator of Buffy. Sorry,
and not only that, what was the
Avengers 1 and 2,
Angel as well,
and
very successful spin-off from Buffy.
That's right.
No, he's a big time player and has been for a long time.
Absolutely, that's why he was brought in. But apparently, he was accusing him of gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable behavior on the set of, the reshoots that he'd rewritten for Justice League to finish that movie.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we can only take what their words are and what came out as a random tweet, and I don't know why.
Out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know why any I mean, obviously, right now, people are being cancelled, if you would call that.
Cancel culture.
Left and right. Yeah, it's happening all the time where somebody has a bad experience with somebody however many years ago, and now they speak up about it in a tweet and it blows up.
That's right.
I'm not sure whether something else happened to the sideline where Ray Fisher all of a sudden had the feeling of trying to essentially cancel or ruin Joss Whedon's career with a tweet. I think Joss Whedon will be fine because he's doing exactly what we advised these kind of people should do last week, and he hasn't said a fucking word.
Yes.
He hasn't come out and said anything because he's probably sitting back going, fuck this guy.
Yeah, what an arsehole. I'll make sure he never works on another DC project.
Yeah, or any film for that matter.
No, that's right. And considering, like you said, looking at Ray Fisher, he had a short film, like one episode of a TV show, then got cast as Cyborg.
Yeah.
Then he's done True Detective. That's it.
And he has a Twitch channel now where he kind of awkwardly plays games.
Oh,
I watched it.
Yeah, why would you? Nah, not worth it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so I don't know what really led him to posting a tweet accusing Joss Whedon of those things, whether they're actually true or not.
And just to clarify for the listeners, say his name slowly.
Joss Whedon.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure people weren't thinking you were saying Josh.
It's probably my lisp probably makes it sound like I'm going Josh Whedon.
No, I know.
Josh Whedon?
No, I Joss Whedon.
No, I'm saying Joe Sweden. That's just not a Spanish word.
Exactly. Just pretend his name is Joe Sweden. Won't even notice the lisp.
That's right.
Exactly. But
so whether these accusations are true or not of him being a total dick and asshole on Jesus, Team America. On set, he's been a dick and or asshole, Chuck. Do you remember that scene? All right, bring it back.
I have to rewatch Team America soon.
That fucking movie is amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah, so whether he was actually an asshole, I don't know. But according to the tweets, it's a pretty heavy thing to say. But then, like, other people came to Joss Whedon's defense.
Yes.
Alan Tudyk, for one, posted a tweet. I
love Alan Tudyk.
I don't have it in front of me, but it basically said, I've known him for 17 years and I've never known, I could never imagine him being like this, and I've got a pretty wild imagination.
Yeah.
So who knows what he's like to women in the industry.
No, that's right.
He may have just been a director trying to direct a cast who was being difficult.
No, that's exactly right. Because
that's on the other side of the coin here.
Let's be honest. I'm sure it would fall with the Avengers as well, but when you've got the Justice League and the Avengers all lined up, those are all A-listers in their own right.
Yeah.
There's egos there, man.
Oh, for sure.
There's egos there. So it depends completely on, see, that's the thing. He may have been acting like that, like an arsehole, but they're all professional and they just know it. Ray Fisher, not being as experienced in front of the camera, he may have seen that going, wow, this guy's a huge... That's just the business, man. And he's just talking like a dude trying to get shit done.
Trying to direct, yeah. Exactly, you could say the same about James Cameron on Alien 2. Apparently, he nearly walked because that cast was just being so difficult.
Yeah, like prima donnas and shit.
Yeah, but looking back at this, of course, I mean, it says later in the article here, this is from Screen Rant that I have the article open right now, but everybody's reporting on it essentially. Apparently, there's a bit of history there between other female actors and also Whedon's ex-wife, who openly spoke or had an open letter about his kind of behavior towards women. And apparently, he's a bit of a weirdo, in that regards, but we can only go off what they're saying. He hasn't commented. He can't defend himself in this climate. So we can only take this with a grain of salt. If you like his films, there's no reason to dismiss those films and his work. No, that's
right. And not only that, we completely failed to mention as well that he wrote The Avengers. Yeah. The Avengers Age of Ultron. Like, he's written Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. I loved Cabin in the Woods. This dude is a big time screenwriter. And honestly, I reckon to completely clear his name without him having to do anything, I think there's one person that needs to come forward and say, no, he's totally fine.
And who do you reckon
Sarah
that is?
Michelle Gellar. Because Buffy the Vampire Slayer was like his big breakout creation. Yeah. And it lasted so many seasons, spawned Angel as well, and she was the titular character. Yeah. So if she came out and said, look, he's fine. Yes, he's a director. He likes to get things done and can be a bit aggressive, but it's just the way the world works and it's fine. I think that would be like...
Being a female lead.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Being a female lead of a creation of his.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would... definitely help him, but I mean, if she stays silent, I mean, you can take that however you want, but I mean, this isn't going to kill Joss Whedon's career. That's
right. And especially with this day and age where I think we're at the tipping point where people recognize what cancel culture is and now everybody's trying to go, okay, shut the fuck up, settle this shit down.
But like you said, right at the tippy top of this article, Ray Fisher, not a very experienced actor, not a big time name or anything like that.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. What clout do you have?
Exactly. Is this him just trying to stir the pot and get relevance?
I really liked him in that movie. I thought he was the best part of Justice League, but at the same time, shut the fuck up.
No, that's exactly right.
You're an actor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, fair enough. Don't dismiss people who are making real claims that actually do threaten somebody, but at the same time,
let them speak up about it.
But the way it was phrased and stuff, it's almost like he said, that dude's a director. Look at him direct, because that's all it could have been. Yeah. And like we've already said, he's not a bigwig in terms of like acting credentials and career and how many directors he's worked with. So
that's right. He's not a Ben Affleck.
No, that's right.
Who could turn out and say, listen, this guy was a dick.
See, that's the thing. If Jason Momoa or Gal Gadot came out and said, yeah, Joss Whedon's this, you'd be like, oh, okay, wow. Like that's a bit more of a big deal. But this dude saying it, it's like, dude, work with a few directors first before you
That's right. Well, it's not just Ray Fisher as well. Later in another article coming out at the same time, even Kevin Smith, famous Kevin Smith, who's known for his involvement with comic books of all kinds, and also being directly involved with the DC universe, essentially being on all of not all of, but most of the DVD special features and things like that, discussing the future of the franchise, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. He's come out and said that apparently Joss Whedon on set talked shit about Zack Snyder, the man himself, on set of Justice League.
Yeah,
now,
right.
If we keep scrolling through the article, essentially, I'm not sure if it really reveals exactly what could possibly say, but it says right here, this is from Kevin Smith himself. Remember when I went to the Skywalker set? So, Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars.
Yes, of course.
Some people had worked on both versions of Solo and both versions of Justice League. So, obviously, the original version and Joss Whedon's version.
Yes, of course.
The special effects guy said that there was a fair amount of trashing Zack's version on the movie set by Joss, that Whedon would cut down, dismiss, and be negative about Zack's vision, which he had seen and all of these people had made together without him. Yeah. So, it's almost like Joss Whedon came in late and was like, fuck this guy, this is what I want to do, that's shit. In saying that, though,
I know.
he almost has to be in that mindset, doesn't he?
No, that's right. Exactly.
He has to
he can't come in and say, oh, okay, so this is what he's done. All right, cool. No worries. Let's try and see how he did it. Yeah, just do that again. Just repeat what you did over there. No, he's got to come in and say, all right, guys, fresh slate, we're starting scratch, okay? Fuck that other shit. Forget what you said. We've got. Forget what we did, because he's got to take control.
That's right.
He's got to take control of the set and restart a project that Snyder's now gone from.
If they wanted to continue Snyder's vision, they would have either offered the option to stop production
completely,
and let him come back to it much later after the whole family issues settled,
of course.
and all of that jazz.
Yeah.
So that way they wouldn't have to just get it out the door and then release a piece of shit, which eventually is what happened.
Yes.
2, they wouldn't have hired Joss Whedon.
No,
they would have done it internally with a lesser-known director, which they would have been like, okay, this new... say, for example, they've got an up-and-coming director who is willing to take the job, who's a big fan of the franchise, and gone, you know what? These are the outlined steps that we want. This is what Zach has set in place. Do what you can with this. Rather than offering it to someone like Joss Whedon, who would have come in and been like, scrap all this shit. This is what we're doing instead.
Exactly, that's right.
The film, in the end... It's not great, I will admit. I mean, I have enjoyment out of it, but it is a piece of crap compared to what we could have gotten, what we may still potentially get.
Yeah.
But to turn around and say like he was an asshole, it's like I kind of understand that he probably put himself in that mindset to be like, I need people on board with my vision. Unless he turned around and said, well, what happened to his daughter was a good thing. That's horrible.
Exactly. If he turned it into a personal thing, then yes, okay, dude's a dick. But at the same time,
like his movies,
surely somebody... Well, see, I know Kevin Smith probably hasn't been in the same situation where he stepped in halfway through a production or thereabouts, but at the same time, surely he would understand a director's mindset of, this is my vision, my control. I need to make sure everybody's clear on what I'm thinking.
That's right.
And that appears like what Whedon's done. You know, like
a smarter decision would have been to get these two guys in a room first, and Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers being like, okay, Joss, here's the rules, here's the story, this is how we want it to finish. And it sounds like he's gone, nah. No. And they've still given him the gig.
Exactly, that's right. Either Joss has lied to them and said, yeah, absolutely, I'll carry on how you've envisioned this project.
And they're getting the dailies being like, this is nothing.
Or he's gone in and gone, no, I'm going to make the film I want. And they're like, oh, okay. You know, exactly. So it's a tough thing to really talk about, but being the director, I imagine there is so much stress and pressure to not only live up to your own expectations, but the studio's expectations, all of these people hounding you about time frames and stuff, and he's jumping into a project that's half done.
That's right.
So if I was him, I would have come in with the same mindset saying, all right, fuck everything we knew. We've got this much to do of this much stuff. Everybody listen to me. This is how we're going to do this.
That's right.
You know, are we doing this together, or are you going to whinge about me in 12 years on Twitter?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, exactly.
So more power to him in that regard.
Who the hell knows? All we are is two guys with an opinion. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we say.
That's right.
At the end of the day, it matters that shit gets done.
Yeah, that's right. And
Zack Snyder's going to get his day soon, being able to re-release the Snyder cut of the film. So,
as you mentioned, like Joss Whedon obviously had to overcome the hurdles that you just mentioned about getting it out on time, coming through halfway, and not only that, but having pressure from producers and other people involved in the film industry. He also has pressure coming off the fact that people didn't really like Man of Steel and Batman of Superman for their tones.
Right. Exactly. And this was going to be the rebirth of the DC.
That's right. Like those films since Justice League have had a better reception now. People have spent the time to analyze these things and go, you know what? I understand the vision now. I understand what he was going for. But at the time, people were a bit dismissive of those films.
Yeah.
But like after obviously witnessing Justice League, it took a more lighthearted tone. It was like Warner Brothers like, well, okay, put on the handbrake. We want to do a Marvel. And that's what they did. And it doesn't work for the universe that Zack Snyder had previously set up. If they had completely different versions of these characters, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
if Joss Whedon was to come through and produce his own Superman film like he originally wanted to in the first place, and then had Batman and Aquaman and whoever else,
of course,
and had a completely his own tone and vision, it would have been fine. But the fact that this had conflicting visions, and not only that, like the reception of the audience was like, oh, we didn't really like this thing previously. Let's have a lighthearted one, and then they've turned around and gone, we don't like that either.
Yeah, exactly.
Warner Brothers have since gone, you know what? Let's just give these films to sort of low-level directors, give them completely free reign, and they've been crushing it ever since.
That's right, exactly. So, I mean, this one can be taken either way, you know. It just, Yeah. So, yeah.
That's right. But speaking of more superhero movie news, next on the list is something a little bit more positive. We talked about a little while ago that Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is getting its sequel.
Yes, of course. And also is a new PlayStation game.
No.
Well, Miles
Morales.
Morales
Teller.
Oh, God.
That's the famous actor from War Dogs and Whiplash.
Exactly. I know. I'm like, I absolutely adore Miles Teller. My apologies. But yes, no. Sorry.
So Into the Spider-Verse, it's getting its sequel. We've already talked about that.
Yes.
But the great thing about Spider-Verse, which we've already talked about, is how fucking amazing, not the story, the animation.
Yes.
The story is great, but the animation is what we're talking about.
So freaking good. Yes. So what's the news coming out of the second one?
Out of Twitter.
Yes, of course.
It's all out of Twitter nowadays.
Most reliable source.
That's right.
Yes.
Christopher Miller, one of the producers, I think, like directly involved with the film, has tweeted on the 2nd of July, only less than a week ago, the development of new groundbreaking art techniques being done for the next Spider-Verse movie are already blowing me away. It's going to make the first movie look quaint.
Oh, that is a big claim.
That is a
huge claim, because if you've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the amazing Sony animation, it is outstanding, both visually, with the story. Everything about that film is just gorgeous.
Yeah, and every single key frame, there's something unique happening, and you have to watch it multiple times over to catch everything. It's fucking brilliant.
Absolutely, and as implied with the title, there's different universes of Spider-Man, so you get to see the animation in different contexts and things like that. So it's so visually stunning and appealing. The fact that he's saying it's going to make it look quaint, oh man, that's a big claim to make, but at the same time, I believe him.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe him with the way this shit's moving.
With Sony being like, you know, the sole owners essentially, or not sole owners, but like part sole owners of Spider-Man as a franchise, obviously now with the deal with Disney, they're certainly going to retain the rights, but they still have the freedom to make solo films.
Yeah.
Whether they're going to continue making solo live-action Spider-Man films, whether it's with Tom Holland or they move into a different direction, who the fuck knows right now? I don't really care.
And it's always changing, so...
That's right. What I'm interested in is their animation studio, because they had Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's.
Of course, the greatest ever.
Fantastic. Then we had Andrew Garfield's live-action Amazing Spider-Man, Mark Webb.
Yes.
Almost trilogy, the two that we got out of them.
Yes, that's right.
Which were fine in their own right, but essentially they failed overall. And then they moved into the whole Disney merger and including Spider-Man into the Marvel, the MCU.
Of course.
And then we had a nice little surprise.
Yes.
That one of probably, if not the best superhero film ever made was a fucking Spider-Man animated film.
Okay.
Holy fucking shit. What?
Honestly, like that's the thing. If you haven't seen the film and you hear Dylan's claim there, you think, oh, that's preposterous. But in all honesty, probably like top 3 greatest superhero films of all time, but definitely the best Spider-Man film of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know how much of a hard-on I have for Tobey Maguire and those.
And it's not even
trilogy,
a Peter Parker film.
No.
It's a Miles Morales film.
Exactly.
And I think that is what humanizes it even more. Obviously,
Wait, not Miles Teller?
No, not Miles Teller. Like the idea of Peter Parker being the everyman, the nerd, the person you can relate to in high school is fine. But then you add another human element being Miles Morales, being like, obviously, he's a new Spider-Man. He's in a different universe, essentially, or the same, depending on which comic or which route you're reading.
Yeah.
But he's in this film, in Spider-Verse, he's even less of a superhero because he's wearing a really makeshift outfit.
Oh, yeah. It's basically a glorified hoodie.
That's right. Yeah. And that's what adds that extra level of humanity to it. And I think that's what makes it even more relatable. So somehow they made Miles Morales a like 15-year-old kid who likes to spray paint, even like one of the best superhero films of all time. So 100%. The fact that the sequel is coming out and the producers are incredibly confident, it makes me super fucking excited to see what Sony Animation Studios is going to come up with this.
It's only... It makes it even more disappointing, the fact that we have to wait until 2022. That's the expected. Like COVID had nothing to do with that. That's just the expected release date.
They can all do it from home. They're drawing.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. But no, that's the thing. I will happily wait and count down every single day until that sequel, because by far and away, like we've already said, one of the best, if not the best superhero film of all time. And it's an animated Sony picture. It's just mind-boggling the world we live in. And the fact that this kind of almost went under the radar, and then all of a sudden I was on a cruise and I'm like, oh, I can watch it for free. Yeah, I'll chuck it on. And then was just glued to the fucking screen the whole time. And then at the end I went, oh my God, I can't wait to tell Dylan.
That's the thing. Like, I regret not going to the movies. This is another one of those situations where the last animated superhero film that I went to see at the cinemas was a number of years prior to that. I went to see Batman the Killing Joke, which was kind of like a one-off animated film that came to cinemas.
And it was like an hour and a half long. It was a good experience, but it wasn't
it wasn't up there with like, hey, if a live action Batman came out.
No, of course, exactly.
Spider-Verse
Are you including the Lego movies? Did you ever go to see any of them?
Oh, yeah, I went to see the first one, but I don't really consider them like direct superhero films. Like, they're great. Like,
you didn't go and see Lego Batman?
No, I didn't. Okay, but that film is fucking brilliant.
Exactly.
I even consider that one of the best Batman films because it has
definitely.
Yeah,
but let's be honest,
well done.
The bar isn't that high.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
outside
of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, I mean, you know, the bar isn't really fucking that high for that.
That's right.
But either way, man,
it made fun of all of the right things, and we could review that later on.
No, but like you said, you were talking about your experiences with animated superhero films in the theaters.
Yeah, that's right. Like I've only ever had one. Really?
No, that's
so. And I heard that Spider-Verse was really great, but I still dismissed it because it was animated.
Exactly.
And now I look back after watching it, going like, fuck, it would have been cinematically brilliant to witness on the big screen.
And that's the thing. We started the podcast in April 2019, and it came out in theaters December 2018. So we only just missed the boat, because imagine that for Yas or Pass.
Yeah,
we would have either looked like dickheads or geniuses, you know?
We would have seen something dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, Fast and Furious 6 was okay. Like, exactly, But either way, I cannot wait for that. And I'm counting down the days. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I'm so fucking excited.
Yep. Speaking of something else I'm very excited for, I won't spend too long on it.
No, that's fine because I don't know about it.
That's okay. We recently got a trailer for season 2 of The Boys.
The Boys?
The Boys, basically a rip-off DC universe from a different comic book chain. Like, every character is a parody of like Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. It's fine.
For the listener who knows nothing about the show, is it almost like a Justice League, an Avengers? Oh, my apologies. Is it like an Avengers? Like they're a group of them? Like what?
Yes, that's right.
Just briefly summarize it.
If I can briefly summarize it off the top of my head, because like season 1 has been and gone. It's been a while since I haven't revisited it since it ended. But essentially, there's a team of superheroes, but they're humanized to the way that, like, what would you actually do if you were in these people's situations?
Yeah,
like, you know, some like there's this backstory that are they genuine? Are they real, or were they created? Are they infused with a particular drug that provides them these powers? Like, where did they come from in terms of their parents? You know, and the great thing about The Boys is that it tells it from a personal level of people who have had direct impacts in their life, negatively, for example. You know, as a direct result of these superheroes in action, and now they're trying to take them down.
Okay, right.
You know, but also it adds in like a human element to the superhero characters as well. You know, like what would you really do if you were in their position? And also the marketing behind it as well. You always have to wear your costume. Yeah. It may not be comfortable.
So the superheroes are marketed, my apologies, almost like a business. And then there's these people who are trying to rally against them because of personal issues that they've had in the past.
Well, not really rally against them, but trying to actually kill them.
Yeah, okay, right. Vigilante types.
If I will spoil something very briefly, but if you haven't watched it by now, go and watch it.
I will.
The superhero team, I can't remember what they're called or the names of the characters, but they're basically 110% marketable.
Yeah, okay.
They set up villains, so they can go and defeat those villains and make money off the merchandise.
Ah, look how good we are, buy the shirt.
That's right. That's exactly right. But then there are moments where they genuinely have to save the day, and for example,
it's overwhelming.
There's a really great scene in season 1 where I can't remember the names, and it really kills me that I can't. But essentially
A-Train, Mother's Milk. Is that one?
A-Train is basically a rip off of the Flash.
Queen Maeve.
I can't remember who Queen Maeve is.
Homelander?
1 second. Homelander is basically this version of Superman. I love it.
I thought so. The name was,
Yeah, so Homelander and another character, which is basically the direct comparison to Wonder Woman, they have to catch or save a plane which is going down. Okay. Now, every time Superman's had to do that, he basically miraculously catches the plane.
Yeah.
But they bring up the point, okay, if he catches it at one end, the rest of it's going to snap off. You can't stop this thing falling to the earth 1,000 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
So literally they go, well, we're on this plane. What do we do? And they go, well, fair enough, we've got all the superhero powers in the world. We can't save all these people.
Oh, fuck.
So they just leave.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
It's violent as fuck.
So cool.
Carl Urban plays Billy the Butcher. He's essentially the one who's been directly impacted by Homelander, and he's on a warpath to kill him.
Yeah, okay, right.
And the rest of the team, obviously, as I mentioned, is
Mother's Milk a superhero's name?
I think it is in this. I can't remember who she is, though.
He. Laz Alonso plays Mother's Milk.
Okay, I'm going to have to rewatch it. Anyway.
Frenchie.
Yeah, the deep
female Black Noir.
Black Noir is kind of like a unknown Homelander with a mask on. He's basically the main antagonist of season 2, which is revealed in the trailer.
Okay, right, yeah.
What did you say about the? You said it a moment ago.
Yeah, the female Frenchie.
No, keep going. The
Mother's
Deep.
Milk.
The Deep is basically
Chase Crawford.
Yeah, he's Aquaman. However, he gets caught up in a sexual assault scandal, and he's sent to, because it's all marketing. He's sent to like a really shitty part of America where he has to be like the local hero, and he hates it.
God. You know, that's cool. That's cool.
It's really really interesting.
Please tell me it's in the desert, and he's like, I love the water.
No, it's in like a southern town.
Yeah,
you know, like where it's just full of hillbillies and like trailers, and he's just like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, okay.
I love it. Anyway, The Boys season 2, the trailer has been released. It's super violent.
Yep.
That short-term memory, man. You brought it up a little while ago. It's fucking shit.
The names? Is that what you're talking about?
The names.
A-Train.
A-Train, keep going.
Mother's Milk, The Deep, Frenchie, The Female, Black Noir,
Queen
Maeve. Yeah, Black Noir.
In the trailer, he grabs a guy by the mouth and rips his head open, and you see the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's not a superhero. He's a vigilante dude.
You never
know. But yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah. You don't have to be a fan of superhero stories to enjoy this. Honestly, I think you would.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
it.
everything you've said about the show is like, yes, I really want to see that. It's just a matter of trying to find the fucking time.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Either way, it's got an 8.7 on IMDb. So if you trust IMDb's ratings, that's a fucking great rating. So
yeah, I'm definitely going to have to revisit it because I
definitely will
like
now that season 2's come out as well, and I can binge watch 2 seasons in a couple of nights. So
absolutely.
That's exciting to me. All right, we've got one more topic for the news this week, I take it?
Yeah.
And this one, but I believe it more pertains to you because you've seen Dead to Me season 1. Dead to Me, you've seen both of them, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Dead to Me has just been, as of today, Wednesday, Dead to Me has been renewed for a third and final season.
Third and final.
Yes,
okay.
Third and final season of the Netflix shows. That just shows that Netflix does know how to renew shows.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Well, they know how to renew it for a third season.
Bring back Santa Clarita Diet.
Didn't that stop at season 3? It did, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. But it left on a cliffhanger and clearly didn't wrap the show up.
Yeah, at least this time.
If they had have announced and said Santa Clarita Diet is coming back for a fourth and final season, I would have been like, yay, we get conclusion. But no! You leave it on the biggest fucking cliffhanger in the history of the show. Go fuck yourself, Netflix.
At least they're doing it for Dead to Me. They're going like, okay, third and final.
Yeah, so Dead to Me fans like yourself can gladly go, all right, cool, I can emotionally and physically prepare for this, you know? But no, Santa Clarita Diet fans are still sitting there just like, you know, scratching at themselves trying to figure out what life is, you know? Because that's what I've been doing.
Dead to Me ended on a cliffhanger, absolutely, where, you know, they end up in a hit and run.
Oh, and you'll get a nice conclusion to that in season 3.
That's what I'm looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Christina Applegate, Linda Cardellini, and James Marsden will return for season 3 of Dead to Me. There's no real information about what's going to happen just yet.
No, not at all. But it's interesting news considering the show has been very well received by critics and fans alike.
Yeah.
So no, absolutely. As long as that's something that's interesting to you, I thought I'd put it in there.
Very good. I am very interested in that.
It's definitely one that's on my to watch list. That's for sure. But honestly, The Boys is a little bit above now. Just saying.
If you've got the time, watch them both, dude. They're both good for their own reasons.
I do not.
They're both good in the way that they definitely appeal with their the relatable storytelling. One of them is based on a woman who loses her husband in a horrible accident, essentially, and they uncover the mystery behind it. The other side of it is overpowered superheroes, but they still humanize them to the point where you can relate to them. No, that's right.
It's probably a very compared to like the Avengers or a Justice League, it's a realistic telling of what the world would be like with superheroes. Yeah, because you can't walk around and like in the Avengers universe or the DC universe with the Justice League, you can't walk around and pretend like somebody wouldn't offer them a sponsorship. Well, that's like that's real.
One thing I think about when I watch Avengers and those sort of movies, I'll keep this brief. I rewatched Avengers: Age of Ultron the other day. Speaking of Joss Whedon's films,
of course,
and I thought to myself, hold on a minute. There's a new Avengers building. There's all these big robots that they use and all this fancy technology. And fair enough, Tony Stark occasionally throughout the whole MCU goes, "I pay for it." Yeah, and fair enough, it was primarily funded by like his military background. Yeah, but he put a stop to that. How do they get paid now?
Exactly.
Where do they, like going out and saving the world on their own terms isn't bringing them profit? They don't do it for money.
Spider-Man's a fucking multimillionaire now, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
he's inherited a fuck ton of shit from him, so
that's correct.
Yeah, but no, that's right. Exactly, that's right.
Surely they'll be selling Hulk t-shirts and toys.
Exactly, that's right.
I want to see that shit.
Marketing, and that's why the boys, like you said, it's a bit more realistic in that sense. So so Netflix dead to me. Amazon with the boys, streaming services are killing it with great original TV. So,
and even HBO Max is killing it right now, which I wish we could talk about. There's so much good things happening.
Don't worry, man. Trailer Park on Friday is going to be fucking great.
There's one that I'm very much looking forward to.
I know exactly which one you're talking about, man. That's one of my favorite foods, and it's made me angry.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Anyway, we've got a very short list of gaming news very quickly.
We'll just touch on those quickly, and then we'll wrap this bitch up.
That's right. We talked about a number of months ago, probably a year ago now, about Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima, that you were interested in checking that out.
Yes.
I know you haven't, and you never will, and that's perfectly fine. Because I thought to myself, you know what? I never will either, because it was PlayStation exclusive.
Yes.
It's coming to PC now.
Yes. And?
I don't know.
Oh, you're still not keen.
The thing is, like now, I'm not going to gloat and say PC Master Race or any of that bullshit. You like what you like.
You totally are.
But what I'm getting at is like, I've, since joining the PC gaming realm, I am inundated with very good low-cost indie games, and I've got so many to choose from. I am kind of this is like we talked about with DC films.
Yes.
You know, remember when Birds of Prey came out after Joker? I was like, you know what? I've had enough of these big AAAs because Joker was so good.
Yes.
I'm not really interested in continuing, even though Birds of Prey is fucking fantastic.
Yep.
I'm kind of disinterested in AAA games now because there's so many great indie games coming out that are cheaper and also don't have any restrictions in what they can make.
Okay.
There's a particular company called New Blood Interactive, and I've talked about them in my gaming Twitch channel a lot because I've played those games.
Where is that Twitch channel, sorry?
Twitch.tv/Dylan2C3pod. Find all the links down below.
Yeah, make sure to check out the chat.
Aiming for that affiliate. We're getting close.
Yeah. Woo!
But yeah, like, I'm not going to harp on about that company, but they just make the best old school style of first-person shooter games I've ever played.
That's a big label.
And they're relatively cheap on those platforms as well. And everything they make just is pure gold, but they're not under EA, they're not under Bethesda.
Yeah, they're very independent.
Yeah. And it's just fucking unreal. And I've interacted with them directly on Twitter. Like they're really open to all of that sort of shit. It's fucking fantastic. And other games as well. But it just seems like, fair enough, it's cool that Death Stranding is coming out on PC. The only problem is that obviously being a AAA thing, it's probably going to cost $100.
Yeah, of course.
And it's hard to find a secondhand. It's impossible to find a secondhand PC game.
I was going to say, I'm like, where would you find that?
Yeah, you would honestly. Yeah, so it's probably going to cost a shit ton. Yeah. And at the same time, I've got enough to occupy me. I don't need this, so I probably won't check it out.
See, that's the thing with it switching to PC. Yes, there will be some PC gamers saying, yes, finally, I can have a go of it. Yeah. But at the same time, most hardcore gamers who want to check it out, they've got a PlayStation. They've already played it.
That's right.
So I mean, it's not going to be a huge moneymaker for them.
It comes back to this whole argument of what platform do you prefer? Exactly, most people have all.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right, and especially like with consoles in particular. Yeah. But PC to PlayStation, that doesn't affect me one bit. I've already got the PlayStation. I didn't buy it then, so I'm not going to go, I'm going to PC now and play Death Stranding. Like,
that's right.
Yeah, so I fair enough, that's great that it's available to more people, but at the same time, those people who wanted to play it already have played it.
Or have already played it. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, so it's really not going to change much.
Yes.
The other thing as well is the Fallout by Bethesda, open world.
The terribly broken game.
Yes, well, there's several of them, but the most recent one, Fallout 76, is completely busted and it hasn't been fixed apparently.
No.
What I put here is that Fallout is getting a TV series.
Okay.
They can't fix their games, but they can fund a TV show.
Okay, well, it definitely helps when Amazon jumps on as producers or funders of the project. That's right. Yeah,
I'm not much of a fan of the Fallout games. I've tried. I'm just not into them. But
yes, I knew this was coming.
But because this is a standalone TV series for Amazon,
exactly,
I have Amazon and I like Amazon.
We both do,
and it's based on a particular subject which I am slightly interested in.
Exactly,
I'm going to check this one out.
I know that's what I was thinking as well. I've never played a minute of the Fallout games, and I really don't care about them.
No,
but a TV series based around the futuristic elements of Fallout?
Yeah, it's intriguing.
I'm like, it's a great concept. I just don't want to have to play the story.
I don't want to have to sit there in front of my TV for 30 hours to uncover something.
Play me the story and I will be intrigued. So, hey, I'm all about that. That's totally fine. I don't mind game adaptations and them dipping their toes in the water of testing out whether or not this will work as a franchise. Maybe it'll spawn movies, you know? Like, there's been successful and big failures from game adaptations in the past.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for them to give it a go.
That's right.
And especially with Amazon, because we've already discussed this episode how good Amazon's production television can be.
Yeah.
So
essentially, very quickly, the story of Fallout is that it's an alternate 1950s where the aesthetic is still very 50s, but there's futuristic elements like robots and house servants and things like that. Nuclear war breaks out. Everybody goes down into vaults.
Yeah.
And each new game, essentially, like Fallout 76, the reason it's called 76 is because Vault 76 opens up and you leave. And then you go explore the world.
Yeah, right.
Fallout 3 is because Vault 3 opened up. Number 4 is because Vault 4 opened up. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Essentially, that's kind of it. All the Fallout players out there who listen to this probably just went, that's not what it's about at all. But that's my experience. Shut the fuck up.
It was called Fallout 76 because there's been 75 prior ones and you're clearly behind.
That's I've got the Nintendo 63 and it's fucking sick.
It was actually set in 1976. Yeah. We don't know. We're guessing.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, and Dylan has a hunch.
I have a hunch because I've played like 10 minutes of like 3 of them anyway. But yeah, so I think the idea that Amazon can produce a TV show off a property that doesn't have a set story. They don't have to derive it from anything. They can just go, okay, here's a vault. People wake up. This is how they got there. And then they go explore the wasteland, essentially. I think that could open up for a really unique story. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, that is an incredibly interesting concept. I just don't want to have to play, like you said, 30 hours to find out, oh, yeah, cool, there's mutants. Like, you know, like that
and
kind
you're
of thing.
You're into what you're into. Like, I'm just not, like, I have played open world exploratory games like that.
Yeah,
this one, I just doesn't do it for me.
No, that's right.
But
anyway.
Very quickly, if you are interested in what's coming up when it comes to, like, future video games, next-gen consoles, those sorts of things, the Xbox Games Showcase will be happening fairly soon, July 23rd.
Okay, so 2 weeks from now,
That's right. It'll be streaming on Xbox.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Of course,
So if you care about what's coming up in terms of the next generation games, this will definitely showcase what the next console will do.
No, of course.
But for someone like, as we just mentioned, PC, PlayStation, Xbox household, I don't care what the software does. My PC will do it.
No,
I'm interested in what's coming out in terms of gaming. We've just had the PlayStation 1,
that's right,
which revealed a whole bunch of games that are not exclusive to the PlayStation, like Hitman, for example, but a lot that are. So it'll be interesting to see what Xbox showcase with their exclusives.
Anything new and that jumps out to us, and I'm sure you'll hear about it first here in our news segment, that's for sure. And you can definitely watch that showcase, as Dylan said, at twitch.tv/Dylan2C3pod. Okay,
I'll host it on my channel. Go to my channel and watch it there instead.
Exactly, do that. Get live reactions of him going, oh yeah, we've seen that.
Oh, I'm not going to live react it. I'll just host it, so that way people can just watch the actual show from my channel.
Damn, that's smart. Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they'll be thanking you for that.
Yeah, they fucking better.
But anyway, all right, moving into one of our favorite, well, it's almost recommendations, but it's not.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You watched it's making me thirsty.
Exactly. You're welcome. You're here. It's At Home with 2C3 Pod. That's a new theme song. There'll be a soundbite next week. Oh, God. What have I done?
What were you singing then?
I have no idea. I don't know. I just made that up. But anyway, this week I did not have a good lot of time to watch stuff.
A good lot of time.
No,
you had
a good
lot
of
of
time. But my son and I got some us time this morning.
Yep.
And after taking him to see Sonic the Hedgehog with my daughter as well last night, I was like, hey, dude, let's watch another Jim Carrey classic.
Okay. Me, myself, and Irene?
No. Fuck no. I'm not going to ruin him like you got ruined. No. We sat down and we watched The Mask.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And, man,
The Mask is fucking brilliant. I don't care.
It's hella fun, man. Yeah. It's hella
of a fun.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It was great fun. He had a good time because we were playing cars as we were doing it as well. And every now and then he'd be like, Dad, all right, this car. And I'm like, yeah, playing cars. And then I'd look up and see him just being like,
glued.
Yeah, exactly. Just glued to the screen. So, no, The Mask is hella fun. I'm sure you've all already seen it, but go back and rewatch it. It's just a good time. There are so many jokes that are a little bit inappropriate and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's all exactly. But it's all in good fun. And I will just say, from a logical standpoint, right? So
none of this makes sense.
Well, obviously, it's about a fucking wooden mask. Anyway, but I mean, Stanley Ipkiss goes to prison for all of his crimes that he's committed, and then gets his dog to help break him out of prison. He points a fucking gun at the guy who was in the holding cell and whose keys he stole when he took the gun. He fucking beats his head and knocks him out, walks out, abducts a police officer at gunpoint, takes him to there, saves the day in that, and then the mayor's like, this guy needs to go free. It's all good, blah, blah, blah. And the poor fucking constable, cop, inspector, detective, whatever he was, who's been investigating Stanley the whole time, and that Jim Carrey's character has been breaking the law and he arrested the correct man, even though there are other bad guys out there. He gets punished at the end of the movie and says, "See me in my office tomorrow morning." And he's in trouble. He did nothing wrong.
He did his job.
He did his job and then got taken at gunpoint.
Yeah.
By a criminal he locked up. And
psychotic criminal.
And he just walks away and they arrest all the bad guys like, yeah, it's all good. You know, I'm like, there is some terrible logic there. But at the same time, it's good fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's classic film. Classic Jim Carrey.
I could talk about The Mask for hours about how fascinating that the fact that The Mask was primarily a crazy kind of kids movie, but it was also akin to adults as well. Yes. But it was based on a really, really dark comic.
And we've discussed that on the podcast before.
Check out the archives.
That would be amazing to see that version.
I would love to see that version.
So, but either way, I watched The Mask. It's available on Netflix. Did I watch it? Yeah, Netflix.
Yeah, sweet. Cool. I got to watch a Netflix original. We talked about this in Trailer Park a little while ago.
Trailer Park the week before last.
Yeah, yes. I watched this merely for the fact that I was relatively fascinated with the story.
Yes.
But I also kind of assumed that you would have watched it as well.
No,
you haven't.
I just didn't get around to it.
No, that's okay.
Depending on what you say.
Well, it's because you talked me into watching this one because I wasn't really originally
that's the
intended to watch
Trailer Park effect, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in on Friday to hear how we can talk you into watching maybe shit.
Well, let's talk about it. So, I got to watch Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga, starring Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams. Now, it's an American musical comedy about Iceland and their participation in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Huge deal in Europe.
Yeah, so essentially, without spoiling too much, brief synopsis is there's this band that made up of Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams.
Siblings?
No, but there's an ongoing joke. She's not. Is that your sister? No, she's not. Probably not. It's only Iceland is a relatively small place.
Yes,
but they're trying to essentially get into the Eurovision Song Contest.
Can you please spoil for me how they get into it? Because I saw in the because I saw in the trailer they're like, we've got nobody. So then they're like, they're terrible. They're terrible. Oh, I guess Fire Saga's in there. Oh, we're in.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So
so spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's
early in the film. I take it.
Yes, there are another of other contestants from Iceland. There's one that's really stands out, and I believe from watching it, it's
Demi Lovato.
Yeah, Demi Lovato. She plays like this really, really super sexy and
fantastical
powerhouse of a performer, and there's a whole bunch of them who are well ahead of Fire Saga in the lead to becoming a contestant. Happens? They're all on a boat.
They die.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
There's an explosion that kills them all.
Yeah, so they've got no contestants for the Eurovision Song Contest.
That's right.
Fire Saga.
So Fire Saga's in. The only weird thing about this is that Fire Saga as a band and as humans, they're pretty decent musically. Also they're very likable in the sense that Will Ferrell's character, fair enough, that Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams' characters have a bit of a conflict with throughout the film. Of course they do.
Yeah.
But as people within the film, they're liked by everybody they interact with.
Yeah, right.
So it's not that really awkward, fair enough, Iceland thinks they're disgusting.
Yeah.
But nobody else does.
Yeah, okay,
There's this really weird back and forth. Pierce Brosnan plays Will Ferrell's father in this, and it's really good.
In the trailer, I got very big Zoolander vibes from that because Pierce Brosnan is a hardworking, salt of the earth type of dude.
Doesn't understand his passions.
Outlandish and musical and all of that. So I got some Zoolander vibes from there. But anyway, overall, your perception, recommendation, is it thirsty? Does it make you hungry? What is it?
The film is...
Were you horny?
It's in the middle. I think this... Now, what I mean by that is this film definitely...
It's in the middle.
This film lands in the middle of those aspects in saying that it was better than I expected. I didn't expect it to enjoy it. I was expecting a lowbrow Will Ferrell just doing whatever kind of comedy, but there was a lot of heart and emotion to the film, which definitely carried more towards the later end of the film. The music in it is quite good, and I like the idea of how they became part of the contest and what the result was and how they overcome all of their obstacles. And as I said before, it tells this really heartwarming and emotional coming of age story of these two characters and how they connect. So I rate it.
Yeah, cool, honestly, man. No,
it's not the best film. It's not the most colourful film.
No.
I would relate this probably to Hot Fuzz.
Okay, yeah.
And the reason I say...
That's a big statement.
I know, Hot Fuzz is amazing.
Love me some Hot Fuzz.
What I mean is Hot Fuzz doesn't present itself as a big blockbuster cinematic experience.
Yeah, okay.
It's set in a small town in the middle of Europe somewhere. That's what this film feels like to me.
Yeah.
But then obviously they move into the Eurovision contest when it's big and fantastical. Yeah. Relatively long film, but overall really enjoyed it. So because you talked me into it, I think you should definitely check this out. And Rachel McAdams,
of course, firecracker. But yeah. I had no plans not to watch it. I just didn't get around to it this week. So I'll definitely be checking that out this week. And I think that's our show.
That is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, who's tuned into this episode. It's been a wonderful Wednesday. We'll certainly see you on Friday, but you can most certainly find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2C3Pod. Links are all down below.
That's right, exactly. And wherever you're listening to us, thank you so much for your continued support. We are available everywhere as per normal. And just because it's an old schlocky slogan, we will just say Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course YouTube, Big Summer Blowout.
Now, if you want to support the show as well, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can tell that we're both sporting a brand new bit of merch. Two's Company Three's a podcast, sells t-shirts, mugs, fridge magnets, and stickers all over at tpublic.com and most importantly as well, redbubble.com. But get it from TeePublic, but right now it takes a little while.
Exactly, that's right.
But it will arrive.
Yes, exactly. It will eventually get there. But not only that, we do have Patreon.
Yes, we do.
We have 3 very affordable tiers. And not only that, we have... how much bonus content are we giving each week?
Lots.
Yeah, exactly. There's a brand new bonus content episode every week now.
Yep.
Absolutely. And we've got some bloody legends that we needed to shout out right now. Alice, thank you for your continued support. Courtney, thank you for your continued support. And thank you to I Should Take a Breath at some stage as well. You guys are bloody legends, that's for sure.
That's right. Now, you can also, as well, if you do want to hit us up for any business inquiries, definitely head over to Two's Company Three's a podcast at gmail.com. Any donation as well, dollar reduce certainly count. Mitchell, if you want to explain how that works, just for the next few words.
PayPal.
Yep.
Do that.
$1, $2, $20,000.
Yes, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, $10 million. All of the dollar dues come straight back into the show to fund our ridiculous giveaways that we do quite frequently.
That's right. You know what? One thing we didn't talk about in our little Patreon exclusive is the fact that our giveaways aren't being paid for by our Patreons, are they?
No, that's right, exactly. But we did touch on a lot of the things that aren't being paid for. That's why we love our Patrons so much, because all of those little bits of dollars that we do get from them is greatly fucking appreciated.
If you want to know more about how we do things and get to the nitty-gritties of this podcast, the production, the cost behind it, and where it all goes to, become a Patreon subscriber, because we now have an additional bonus content episode every week where we basically go a little bit deeper on how we operate.
No, that's right. Well, at least our first episode was just literally a small chit-chat about just the podcast and how much we appreciate their support. And moving forward, there will be special episodes, there'll be other reviews, extra, all of this kind of stuff, and it's all audio only, so it just feels more homely to us and more from our roots, you know. Yeah. So we had a great time with the bonus content. So if you want to check that out, head on over to Patreon, 2C3Pod, Two's Company Three's podcast, search it.
That's right. But guess what? We've got 2 podcasts. 2 podcast episodes on a Wednesday and on a Friday every single bloody week. Right. Wednesdays, as always, with the news and reviews and also what we've watched in terms of that. And Fridays being Trailer Park and Yassel Pass.
Yes, absolutely. My baby is Friday. I absolutely love that. But not only that, you can watch all of our content, except for Patreon exclusive stuff, on YouTube.
Yeah.
So make sure to head over there, 2C3Pod, search it, subscribe, ring that little bell, do all that jazz, and we are welcome.
We've got an exhaustingly copious amount of minutes.
It's insane.
On YouTube.
It's insane. You could probably honestly start it, and before you finished it, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's how much content we've got on YouTube.
Not because it's boring.
No. Well, no. Some of the early ones.
You know that meme or that the GIF meme? The skeleton.
That's somebody just trying to watch all of our content on YouTube.
Yeah, from start to finish.
That's how much we've got. But
if you're into Twitch gaming, follow me on twitch.tv/Dylan2C3Pod.
Yes, Mitchell, 2C3Pod, exactly the same. Not as frequent. Fortnite only. Whatever.
That's cool. My name is Dylan. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And as always, with my co-host,
Mitchell. And do not forget, we are Two's Company, but you are the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around at the very end of the episode. As we do every week, we've got a bit of movie trivia.
Yeah, fucking troopers.
Yeah, what are we at right now? So we're at 11 of 25 for you and 13 of 25 questions for me. So I'm in the lead only by 2.
Slightly.
But I hate looking at the record going like, well, out of 25 questions, we've got less than half.
It's fucking terrible, man.
Yeah.
And we've got less than half of the questions remaining in this wonderful trivia box.
We'll have to find out a different box when we're finished it. Anyway,
yes.
On to the question. First of the Wednesdays.
Microphone around.
Yeah.
How many times did Dylan whack his microphone? 7.
In the film Cocktail.
Oh, okay. Tom Cruise, yeah.
Is it? I have no idea.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
What name do Brian and Doug intend to call their cocktail bar?
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, what is it?
Are you fucking serious?
No, it is.
What is it?
Cocktails and Dreams.
Oh, that is fucking stupid. Fuck you, Tom Cruise. Piece of shit.